A Hairier problem. Rise to the Furball by Blue Bastard. Chapter 3. The Wilds of Whitetail. Sandalwood looked at the massive mountain of paperwork lying in front of her inside. It was tax season again, and this year Princess Luna had made some major changes to several parts of the tax code. It had been stressful enough in convincing Lotus and Aloe to allow the continuation of aromatherapy through having the spa foot the bill for various perfumes and scents needed. While the profit margins of Sandalwood's aromatherapy had been as large as ever, our recent protection stories of basic scents had driven prices up, and it had become somewhat hard to acquire. So hard that even with the spa proprietors agreeing to continue sponsoring the aromatherapy, the number of sessions had to be reduced, and Sandalwood's salary had taken in order to help pay for the materials. Sure, she could always ask her parents for money. They were practically rolling in it after the massive success of her father's debut book had been, although public endorsement from now Princess Twilight Sparkle probably helped. But she wasn't a filly anymore. Wanted to prove she could handle these rough periods. Plus, it was Saturday, and considering how Derpy hosts, the mailmare, always got Saturday and Sunday mixed up, it was likely her parents wouldn't get the letter until Monday. Of course, right now, just trying to balance everything was close to her limit. But what's the good, since technically she owned half the house. The other half belonged to Lyra Heartstrings, who, while Sandalwood could get along with very well, had successfully been dodging any inquiries to how she made any money. Sure, she could play the heart like no pony's business, but there wasn't any market for heart players in town. Caroline, on the other hand, probably always could use the mythical creatures known as humans. The elite would have her ridden out on a rail before she could home, said the unicorn in question, her heart case slung over her back. Seemed especially cheery, more than so than usual. Is something wrong, Sandy? No, no, nothing's wrong. Just trying to cope with the tax house. Oh, and because of supply issues, my job has taken a hit since several of my basic enrollments. Meanwhile, you're out doing whatever it is that you do that isn't earning money. You mean like having a date because I got one? That's not bare of it. Larry just laughed. Since it's not exactly a stable business, I got a job at Ponyfield Instrument Sales and Service to work on fixing string instruments. But tomorrow being my first day of work, I'm trying to pull all the support on your back. Yeah. Sorry for jumping to conclusions about things at the spa have been what with the I heard. Prairie. Sandalwood's eyes widen. You mean super basic science? Possibly, depending on what you need. Is it the actual smell you need, or I'll try to explain this in a simple way I can. What I need are basic essential oils, specifically lemon and ryman thyme for the antidepressant effect, some cinnamon scent and scents to provide a moderate scent base for the overall feeling, lemongrass extract lotion for situations where the customer needs help relaxing, and no aroma vaporizer to assist in the delivery of smells into the client's olfactory senses. I cannot tell you how hard it is to find vaporizers these days that don't have a backing sense. Myra took a moment to try and process the jargon uttered by her flatmate. Failing, she just shook her head and smiled. Okay, I'm going to say I didn't understand any of that, and suggest you go talk to Sakura the next time she's in town, or just visit her hut in the Everfree if you really need that stuff for less. Everybody pondered that. Yeah, she's a good alchemist, and just any pony in town who would know that any usable substitute for my needs would be her. Although the idea of having to go deep into the Everfree doesn't sound exactly safe. How Rarity and the others manage to do it all the times beyond me. Actually, Sakura put up some enchanted totem towards the path that supposedly protected the path from any dangerous creatures, along with serving as guide marks to avoid poison junk patches. I can go with you on a basic light spell to help see in the dark. Thanks, Lara. Now help me with these. I had no other choice. I walked over to Sandalwood to assist in the war against Deadburst. At the same time, Charlie and Ottercrest had gathered their classes on a brisk weekend afternoon for a highly unusual event. While the Ponyfield education system normally didn't fund field trips in general, this was an exception. The rare screaming Mina, a bird of mythical beauty that was only a few times every decade, had been confirmed through various sources to be making a nest in the white-tailed woods. So, with a rare occasion for the students in town, all the kids at school had been dragged away from their weekend plans so they could hike around to stare at birds. This is going to be so Daddy don't even come around here, period. And I don't remember this being a deal being made about Philomena any time Princess Celestia brings her to visit. I don't know. Maybe basically suggested. Plus, we can even get our cutie marks and just get bird watching. What? I am bird watching. Just at least trees make it a false activity, and not staring at birds all day. At least you don't need to wear that walking device thing anymore, right? Squeaks the tiny. Yes, everybody's expectations. And it taken only if it would never happen. It's a good thing I don't know you anymore, too. That little cracking noise at me, I was probably going to throw it at my bedroom. So with right diamond tiara was behind the CMC. To see his far runs of the trip. Mostly your parents and attendant students aware of this. It was clear from the shock on DT's face here in the middle of a rude comment. For that brat turned away in order to save face pretend it never happened. I'll muttered Applebloom. You okay? Both could have sworn the Earthplane friend just growled. Well, yeah, I'm fine. But for some reason, I thought I could hear Tiara trying to make fun of me again. Down for a booty. Plus, I can't even hurt her. I can't even tell what two ponies in front of me are seeing, and I'm just behind them. I don't know, honestly. Maybe, Skulu said. It's by now. Much interest. They did their best to make it all interesting. But it was too wanted to play hoofball, more to learn about why this. The sun began to set as the group reached the campsite. With speed that the tired assemblage of hikers wouldn't appear capable of, a small village of tents popped up instantly in the clearing as kids went out to play to take a break from watching. In one particular tent, the CMC were getting their beds ready. The only pony group of the entire expedition mine, or at least that's what they had read in some book at some point during their never-ending quest for their elusive cutie marks, then to share the contents of her sleeping bag container. I'm all asleep. We gotta lay out your sleeping bag so we can figure out the thing. Not to laugh, she knew exactly what was going on. No, I don't need to get it out. I don't even know my butt, actually. I can just sleep on the ground just fine. Fuster feeling fine. Wrestling for Scoot, Sleepbell had snuck behind her in one fell swoop, undid the restraining cord of her sleeping bag holder. Instantly, the Pegasus bag shot out to the middle of the tent due to how poorly packed her Scoot's very sleeping bag was a light pink color with purple hearts all over them. I tell the mate, I wasn't expecting the night to come out. Why didn't you even highlight? You got me a long time ago, before we moved to Ponyfield, and I decided it was going to be as cool as Rainbow Dash. My brain, which stinks because it's really cool and not at all girly like this one. Hi, if I'm like a feel better, we could trade sleeping bags. Everyone suggested, gesturing over out. The loose, young farmer's bag was simply colored red candy on the outside, but inside and pillows appearing warm, totally oblivious. The concert of Folsom was that while Skillu's badly embarrassing, Sleepy had developed that was reflected in her choice of sleeping arrangement. The sleeping bag was covered in lithographics in the match. In all honesty, it was outlandishly garish. And Skillu would certainly be caught dead in the bag she actually brought in, to consider it sleeping under images of sapphire swords. Thanks, Lee, but I think I'll sleep without free. The old hollowed husk of a tree glowed with light, while over what appeared to be especially after having to traverse a path along through. That's a cursed hut, Lyra stammered, horn aglow with a light spell. You'll carry your saddlebags full of various oils. I'm fine. I just never been out here before. In the dark. Ever. You know, I would normally at this point make a joke about Bonbon, but back in the old days, this used to be subversive to pony trends. Nowadays, it's breaking with canon. Time is a bitch. Get inside. Selwoods tried over as nothing was bothering her. You did not freaking out. Lava, you and I, along with a few other ponies and a Minotaur, drove the first two long-distance motor vehicles in the quest. I don't remember seeing you this scared when we were all out in the open in front of said werewolf. Heck, that Sam Lilmore, whatever his name was, I honestly rather walk up to Nightmare Moon and punch her in the face than serve to let her smell him, since he clearly didn't know the first thing about hygiene. That guy I found Lyra was helped to relax a little. She followed Sandalwood up to the door, where Sandy knocked. Hello? Anybody home? Just a minute, said a voice from inside. Moments later, a lock could be heard being undone. Whereupon the door opened, and there before the pony stood the zebra alchemist he had come to find. Oh, hello. Please come inside. I apologize for it being a little messy in here, but I normally don't expect visitors at this hour, especially not during the middle of the weekend. Sakura beckoned the duo to enter, which they did. Inside the hut looked more or less exactly what the outside implied. It was a hollowed-out tree, with racks and cells full of potions and ingredients lining most of the walls. On the ceiling hung ropes to which were attached even more potions, which reflected bright, pretty colors in the candlelight. There was a bubbly cauldron in the middle of the one-room hut, as some sort of centerpiece, which set the tone for the entire residence as being mostly dedicated to Sakura's profession. There was little in the way of personal decoration, outside what appeared to be more mask and design aesthetic, natural to Sakura's homeland, and a hammock bed tucked away in a corner. Very cozy place you have here, commented Lyra, slowly warming up to the yacht. The cauldron was bubbling profusely. Hey, what kind of potion do you have brewing? That's not the potion. It's just some soup I was going to have for dinner. This is a zebra. Suddenly had a bowl in her hoof. It started to lay like to have the consistency of bog slime. Lyra cringed back up slightly. I wanted to try a double bacon cheeseburger because I felt like I remembered that hard monstrosity that Lyra had secretly been keeping in the fridge. I went to make the sudden comparison of her traditional Sabrine until her so greasy consumable from the meadery, since it was far and so still as delicious as it always been. It sort of sounded like an insult, but at the same time she worked directly at the unicorn instead of the meal. You're not rhyming, Zebra. You're always rhyming. Is something wrong? Sakura's face flushed in embarrassment, a rare sight. Unfortunately, I was about just before you two arrived. Yes. You see, my friend Sandalwood here is an aromatherapist, but recently stopped. Thanks, Lara. Problems. Having noticed that Sakura's ears perked up slightly as she mentioned aromatherapy as her profession, thereupon I did the class on our saddlebags and pulled out some of the vials within. Issues with my supplier. Several of my most important expenses had come to see you if you could provide one. Put your spoon down. Sakura took one of the vials and Sandalwood's hooves. All found nothing grass extract. Unusual, but certainly not at my expertise. I said you need more than just that, however. If you could explain what you need in much detail as possible. The next 10 minutes saw Sandalwood going through a very detailed explanation. None of the needed materials for aromatherapy in such detail got to the point Lyra became convinced it was some other language entirely her flatmate was speaking. Sakura, on the other hand, seemed to understand those every word Sandalwood had said perfectly, nodding her head occasionally or raising an eyebrow to what she thought was unexpected. So yeah, that's everything I know. Too difficult? But if you can even make just one of those, I'll be more willing to pay you for the supply. Paying Sandalwood, evidently not having taken enough breaths during her small laundry list of aromatherapy goodness. Quite the contrary. Quite contrary, Miss Sandalwood. Many of those things of which you spoke of, I can make for you easily. But those of which are not my skill set, I could probably find an alternative, which I can make and will have the same effect. Oh, said surprised Sandalwood, relieved that this solution was more beneficial than he thought. But, continued Sakura, causing Sandalwood's grin to fall somewhat, in order for me to best help you in making these things, I'll need more than just your word for what they do to bunnies in your cat. So if it's not too much trouble, I would like to expend time and materials for minting a course. Yeah, you know, Sandalwood said happily, though it really was going to be a load of trouble. I'll have to spot food to bill for my stuff, and you got 3 aromatherapy. Thought now slightly panicking up here's hoping Sakura somehow in the VIP list. Back in the Whitetail Woods, as Charlie was taking a class to educate her captive audience about nighttime flora. She seemed to have some concerns whether her carry mark was as opposed to the metaphorical sense she constantly explained it to be. Ugh, I thought we came out here to see mushrooms. Saying mushrooms and other fun guy were not in fact as awesome as the bats the other class had been seeing. Sleepbell was, as always, I don't know. And then goes like cold out don't they? Applebloom was also normally more positively opinionated, was uncharacteristically dour and current. Yeah, I'm slightly drowsy, with one host scratching her foreleg perpetually, as the needs of her friend. Sleepbell, in turn, started scratching harder. I'm not sure. I've got the lights all over me and it won't go away. My head is starting to hurt so the fires. What's going on over here? Charlie suddenly asked, as he approached the trio, they had not been paying much attention to their surroundings. Applebloom says she doesn't feel well, Slee said, pulsing a little nod in her head to her yellow counterpart. Sure enough, Applebloom appeared to be genuinely brought down by something. Maybe an allergy to a plant here in the woods, but not a sleepable acres. Plus, Chamberlain was all too familiar with the CMC's occasional attempt to get out of school by feigning sickness, which generally involves them feigning several fatal afflictions at once. Never something that would require. Well, Applebloom, if you're really feeling that bad, you can go back to your. You should go with the schoolmaster ordered. Yes, ma'am! The trio said, one less enthusiastically than the others. They paid no attention mind to the sea of jealous looks he got out to leave early. But Applebloom truly didn't appear to be feeling well. She was half stumbling all over the place, often needing one of her friends to keep her going in the right direction. It was extremely odd, since only a few hours ago she was as energetic as any pony. Well, she does, Molly. We're gonna get hotter all of a sudden. I feel like it changed. Anything, it should be cooler since there isn't a cloud in the sky to keep hitting. As you see if it becomes such an expert in weather phenomena. Replied the orange filly, flaring her wing for emphasis. I may not be ready for the weather, like every pony else who has wings. Oh, okay. The trio sit themselves inside and bunkered down. They opened the back window of the tent, giving a perfect view of the night sky. The full moon shone Apple. Applebloom, can we please sit that up? Asked Lulu, shield her eyes. It's gonna make it hard to sleep for me. It probably sleep, but even the Applebloom did not respond to the moon as in a trance. His face, but got no reaction. Yes, this could be bad, said Sweetie. Although both Unicorn and Pegasus didn't understand what was going on, not at least until the Earth Filly tensed up and fell to the ground. Burns! Gasped Applebloom, while clearly trying to hold back her screaming about something about but beginning to an excruciating pain. Scootaloo said, by a sudden thrust of the down filly sent Scootaloo leaping over the sleep bell. What they bore witness to was a horror no mortal worse by being their friend who was suffering. With tears in her eyes, the bite Applebloom began to change. What originally started out as some irresistible sensation that every single part of her body was at the heart of a raging wildfire. To the three fillies in the tent and lasted, the pain seemed to subside, and Applebloom was at least able to sit upright. Asked the scared Sweetie. Are you all right? I don't know. No. Oh, no! Applebloom shouted as her tongue went from confusion to horror. Looking down at him, she found fuzzy little nubs starting to pop out of her changes to know exactly what she was becoming. But as a response to her revelation, she erupted all over her body before her front hooves. Now more or less paused at the muscles, she had to clamp her eyes closed, trying not to scream for whatever feeling she was going through. Fortunately, she failed. Man! Ah! Wailed the poor filly, though her muzzle now lightly longer, filled with slightly sharper teeth, before glancing on the ground again, panting heavily, tears flowing from her eyes. Needless to say, what had happened to Applebloom would forever go down in the minds of Sweetbell and Scootaloo as they had ever seen. Applebloom's some future, but more concerning was the sound of approaching adults in a swing camper. The two fully conscious crusaders looked at each other, then Applebloom, then each other again. They were alone. Applebloom seemingly transformed into some kind of dog creature in an extremely painful manner. And there were other ponies approaching the tent rapidly. Even when they had no idea of the thing Applebloom somewhat, to the minds of the fillies, he must still be Applebloom. As their fellow Mark consults, and since the two were looking between each other, the semi-conscious we had no idea how they were actually going to do this. We need to get her a dog carrier, doggy bed, and I'm not helping, am I?